Hi friends, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. So today's video, I wanted to do an update to a video that I made a few months ago. So if you watched that video, I let you guys know that I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that was in July 2016. And just was sharing with you guys, that I was going through chemo and all my emotions and feelings of being diagnosed with cancer and such. So today I just wanted to give you guys an update because a lot of things have happened since then. So I did my video in November. I think it was the beginning of November because I still had one more chemo to go. So my very last chemo session was on November 16th. So that was chemo number 6 that I had to do. I did R-CHOP, which for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is very common. So 6 sessions, yay, I was done. So completed it in November. And after you're done with chemo, then they normally schedule a scan to see like if the cancer, is gone, to see if your body looks like it's clear. So my PET scan was in December. It was like mid-December. So I kind of had to wait a month after my last chemo to do my scan. And I don't know why. I just thought like they would schedule my scan right away. I guess I was really like anxious to find out what the results were going to be. But they wait for, in my situation, like they waited about a month. And so December like 12th, I think, is when I went in to do my PET scan. And of course I was nervous, even though like I know they don't give you your results that same day. Like you have to wait a few days to hear from your doctor or to go see your doctor. But so I did my scan, and about a week later I went in to see the doctor, and it was pretty good news. So they were like, your scan was clear, and like it's good, and like it was so quick, like the way that the doctor just was like, oh yeah, everything came back fine. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like so happy. And then as he keeps talking, he's like, well, there was an area that did lit up, but it's scar tissue, or we think it's scar tissue. And then or was like, okay, wait, what? Like, so it wasn't technically like clear, like something showed up, and then he's like, yeah, but it showed up like right here in the same area where like your scar is from when they did surgery. So he's like, I looked at it, and like a lot of other doctors I had look at it, and like we're pretty like 90% sure that it's just scar tissue. And so I was like, okay. And so like to him, like the scan was good, like it came back clean. But in my head, I was like, well, I mean, are we sure? Like, and I think he could hear like my anxiety over it. And he was like, well, if you want to make sure, like be 100%, like we can do a biopsy to make sure that it is scar tissue, which, I was like, yeah, like I think I do want to do that because I just want to make sure, So that was one of the things that they let me know when I got my results. And then my oncologist said, so like next step 2 would be either just because they were pretty sure like that the biopsy would come back as scar tissue. But so then he was like, so then like we can just watch and wait, which would mean like watch and wait to see like if the cancer would come back. And I don't know how long that would have been. He said, or we can do radiation as the second step. And he said radiation would be because like I had such a bulky tumor, at the very beginning of all of it. The chemo, can kill so much, but at the very like cellular level, like, or there could still technically be cancer, just not big enough, or like where it would show up on the scan. So with radiation, they did let me know that there is some pretty crazy side effects, and then I guess the most worrisome side effects would be down the road. So they said like about 20 years after radiation, a lot of people have heart failure and breast cancer, especially or in my situation because it's in like the chest area, and they say it's significant, like the chances that you're gonna get either heart failure or breast cancer significantly increases, and these are like based off studies and like other people that have gone through radiation many years ago. And so it's kind of like a hard decision. They said, either watch and wait or we can move on to radiation. And he said, like, my gut feeling is like you should do the radiation just because like your cancer was so aggressive. Like my cells were growing, I believe like 65 to 70%. And he's like, your cancer was so aggressive, like if it does come back, like it might come back even more aggressive. Now it's adapted to the medicine, like, and it could be a lot harder to treat if it returns. So with the radiation, it does decrease the percentage of it returning. And so, like, honestly, like in the moment, I was like, I'm gonna do radiation. I had no hesitation because, I want to do what's gonna, like decrease the chances of it coming back, like what's gonna like prolong my life right now, especially because I do have a daughter and she's so young. Like, in the future, like 20 years down the road, like heart failure, or breast cancer, like I can deal with that then. But what's gonna make me healthy and I guess prolong my life right now? So I was like, yes, like radiation, like that's the next step, like I'm in. And I had seen like other people, like that's the path that they take is chemo and radiation. So I wasn't scared to do radiation. So I was like, okay, well, that will be the next step. But, just to be fair, like my doctor did definitely give me the option of not doing radiation because I know sometimes people are very skeptical. And I've had, I guess, like friends or family say like, it's the industry. Of course, they're going to tell you to do radiation. They make money off of it. But really, my doctor did say like, these are your two options. And I could have said no to radiation. But for me, my gut guess said yes to radiation as well. So, that was my appointment. That's kind of what we went over. I got to meet the radiation, like, oncologist doctor, and he was super nice. And then that was like mid-December, right? So then I had a break, and then my biopsy to check on like what lit up in my scan was at the beginning of January. So I did that and it came back that it was just scar tissue. So that was very, very good news because then, that meant that my scan in December meant like I was cancer free. So, yay, I was really excited. And I felt like, okay, awesome. So then the next step was to do radiation since it came back, that the area right here was just scar tissue. So before I could do like the mapping / like it's called syncing, I think, as well. I had to go and do blood work to make sure that I wasn't pregnant. And then they get the results and then they're able to do that like scan. So they did my mapping. And it was torture for like an hour because you have to put like your hands behind, or in my situation, like my hands behind on top of my head and like just be like on this hard table for like an hour, over an hour. And yeah, not moving. And they make like a mold around your body because like with radiation, it's super important that like every time you go in to get your radiation, you're in the exact same spot, right? Like, because or else it's not gonna, it could be hitting things that it shouldn't be hitting. So they make like this mold like around your body, like they squish stuff around your body. And so yeah, it was super uncomfortable. Then they put like these little stickers on your body. So like I had stickers like all down my chest and like on the side of my body to where like they can line you up in the future with the mold. and with like where they put like this little box, or I guess like in my situation, they put this little box on me on my chest, and like when you breathe, like it just measures like your breathing and things like that. But and then they had like put stickers on my chest like where that little box should go every time. So I did it, and then like a week went by, because they're like, oh, then a few days, they usually need like 3 or 4 days to like do the mapping, and then, or like what they do on the computer to like make sure like what angles are gonna hit you, and then we should start the radiation. And then like a week went by, and then like they didn't get back to me, and then they're like, oh, we're still trying to like improve it, like we feel like we can improve it. And I was like, okay. And then they're like, you need to come in again to do the mapping syncing thing again. And I was like, oh no. And they're like, you have to go get blood work done again to make sure you're not pregnant again. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like I just did it like a week ago. So I was like, oh, I was like frustrated. So I went and did the blood work again, and then I went in and did the mapping again. And it was the same thing, like holding my breath. And yeah, again, they just said like, we just want to make sure it's perfect. Like we're not going to start it until we feel like it's perfect. And like I go to a hospital, right? And they're like the MD Anderson Cancer Center, and they work very closely with other MD Andersons, so like the one in Texas. So like there's a lot of communication going on, and I guess like at Houston, like they have to approve it before like they can start it. So you know, they were communicating, and it was like it could still be improved, so that's why I had to do it again. So I did it again, and I'm like, okay, hopefully I don't have to do it a third time. But then I had to wait a few days, and then finally they're like, okay, like it's where we want it to be, it's been approved. And so they told me it was going to be for 17 sessions, so it's every day except for weekends. So I started February 16th, which was Thursday, so Thursday, Friday, and then you know, you get the weekends off. And then because it was 17 sessions, then I did 3 more weeks of Monday through Friday, which was kind of hectic because I went back to work at the end of December. And so I would, you know, like drop off my baby daycare, or, you know, with family member, whoever was watching her that day, and then drive to work, and then leave early, and then go to radiation, do radiation, and then go pick up my daughter, and then go home. So it was like my days are just like so crazy. So because so much time had passed, like from my last chemo to like when radiation started, like you know, I was doing research, or like when I got the news that in December that like my next step would be radiation, like I started doing research and just like looking into other people that have gone through radiation. And you know, like some people had said that it was worse than chemo. And then my doctor had told me like, you're gonna have to eat a lot, like because we can't have you lose weight, like because they're gonna be radiating like your chest, like it's gonna affect your esophagus is gonna get swollen, you're not gonna want to eat, it's gonna be hard to eat, you're gonna lose weight. I was like, oh my gosh, like okay. And I don't know what's wrong with my body, but I cannot really gain weight. So like all throughout my chemos, like I've been like the same weight. And so he's like, you need to eat a lot of food and get fat. Like I was like, okay. So I was really nervous. And so like every day, so like with radiation, I would go every day at 2. And so I would park, go inside. They're normally like take me in right away, make me change into a gown, and then put me on the table, and it would be like the little moldy thing, and then they would put me in. I would like sit in the mold, like lay down, put my hands on top of my head, and they have like these 2 little bars, and you just like hold on to them. So I'm holding on to them, and like I have to like take my gown down, and like they put like this little like, not towel, but like another little blanket like on my boob area to like try to be, so my boobs are not just out, but they really are just out there. And they put the little box on me to measure like the level of breathing, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna start. And then they put music for you, whichever music you want to listen to, which for me, I'm totally into like Spanish reggaeton, like Maluma, Nicki Jam, J Balvin. So like, I'm like, okay, give me the Maluma station. So they were always joking like every day, like about the music, and like the technicians are just like super nice and super friendly, just so nice. And then so they put on the music, and then they go out of the room because they're like in this other room where there's like computers and they can see you in there, right? So then they would make me, they're like, okay, we're gonna get started, so like let's practice your breathing. So they would like breathe, and then I would like have to hold my breath, and then they're like, okay, so next time not so deep, or you have to, you know, bigger breath next time. I'm like, okay. So then I would hold my breath, like I'd be like, they're like, okay, hold your breath, and I'd be like, oh, and they're like, okay, perfect. And then they would like start the scan, and then so it's this machine, right? And it starts over here, and it has to go like slowly, slow, like all the way to the other side. So I'm holding my breath like this whole time together, which I should have asked the people like, how long am I holding my breath for? Because I always try to like listen to the music and see like, okay, where is this guy singing at this part, and see like when it stops to like try to calculate how long it's been. But I like had to concentrate so badly on like not breathing, like, you know, because I really badly wanted to be like, oh, like I need to breathe. So but it felt like forever. And then so they would do the scan, and then they would have to make sure that I was in the same position, or like in the right position of the original scan. So sometimes I would be in the wrong position, so the techs would have to come back in there and be like, wiggle me and be like, okay, I have to like move you like a little bit this way. So once your scan is good and you're lined up like you should be, then they're like, okay, we're gonna start treatment. And they would be like, hold your breath, and then the machine would be like, "Rah," and then they're like, you can breathe. And then that would be like 4 times. So then it'd be like, okay, you can breathe, and then hold your breath, and then and then you could breathe, and then it would be done. And so it was pretty quick, maybe there for like 30 minutes max, 45 minutes maybe. No, like it was usually like pretty quickly, so like 30 minutes I would say max. And then you're done, you're good to go. And like I would get dressed again and then just leave. So so I finished radiation, yay! And that was March 10th. That was my very last radiation. And at the very last day of radiation, like they gave me a certificate, and it said like my end of treatment, and they had a bell, and I was able to ring the bell. So that was really exciting, because like I mentioned, like with my last chemo, like it wasn't really like an event or anything like that. Like it was just like, oh, that's my last chemo, and okay. And then you know, when I got my scan results, like there wasn't really anything that, you know, the doctors really said like congratulations or anything like that, you know. So that was really cool. And like I mentioned, everybody was super nice, and it made it easier going in every day with like the techs being just so friendly and like making jokes, and it just was really good. So yes, what else to let you guys know? So they did tell me that my skin, you know, because it's like technically like, you know, radiation, like it will be like a sunburn. So it didn't start changing red until like the last week of radiation. Like so like for 2.5 weeks it was fine, and I kept thinking like, like it's not changing red, like maybe like are they even doing anything? So but no, like the last week of radiation, like it turned red fast, and now it's like red and like black. So I don't know if you guys could tell, like right here, like because it's from like all the way at the top to like the bottom, like it's, and you guys could see my scar, but let me see if I can show you guys that's burnt like all the way, like, but even worse like towards the bottom right here, if you guys could see that. So yeah, pretty gnarly, but not that bad. And then it's in my back too, so like it goes through you, you know, like it's in the front and then it's in the back, which it just like itches really bad, like I want to scratch it. but I've just been putting like coconut oil on there, and the aqua thing that they tell you to put on there as well. I've been doing that to try to make it feel better. Okay, my hair. I had my first chemo, like literally like 2 weeks later, like all my hair fell out, and it was super traumatizing, and it was gone for like months, and then I want to say like after my fourth chemo, my hair started growing back, and it kind of got like, it grew like a little bit, and then like after my 5th chemo, it fell out all again, and I was like, thanks again. It was traumatizing again, and it was just really sad because like as a girl, like your hair, you know, like you love hair. So my eyebrows never fell out, and my eyelashes never fell out completely. Like my eyelashes got really thin, and then my eyebrows kind of got like, they were kind of brittle, like you could kind of like pull them off, and it was weird, but they never like fell off. My hair on my head, definitely all of it fell out. So my 5th chemo was like at the end of October, so then all my hair fell out, and then it didn't start growing back again until after like my last chemo. So probably in December it started growing back. So now it is a little, so what it's been like, you guys could kind of tell, like let me take it off. You guys want me to show you guys my hair? You guys could see my hair. So I look like weird with big earrings and short hair. So it's so short, but yeah, hopefully in like a week or two, no, maybe like a month, then I can like go out and like rock the pixie cut. I've never had like super short hair like this. Like the shortest I've ever had is like, you know, still like pretty long. So it'll be kind of fun to have short hair, but yeah, I'm not ready yet to like go out in public, and I feel like it needs to grow in a lot more. So yeah, that's my update. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, if you have any questions, leave them down below. If you're going through radiation, you guys are strong, and you guys will get through it, and hopefully everything will be okay. So bye.